you introduce yourself to the jury and spell your first and last name for the court?
My name is Nickolle Aguilar. It's spelled Nickolle. Last name Aguilar.
Where are you from?
I'm from Costa Rica, Alajuela.
When did you come to the United States?
When I was about 4 years old, I moved with my family to Florida.
What's your mom's name?
My mother's name is Nickolle Acevedo. Do you want me to spell it?
Where does she live?
She lives in in Boca Raton, Florida.
Do you have kids?
Yes, I do.
How many do you have?
I have 3.
What are their names?
Dominic Patrick Aguilar, Avani Marie Aguilar, Abigail Maria Aguilar.
You're currently in a red jumpsuit,
Yes, I am.
and you have handcuffs on?
Yes, I do.
Why is that?
Because since August 28th of 2021, I have been incarcerated.
Have you pled recently?
Yes, I pled guilty to injury to a child by omission.
And is there an agreement in place?
The agreement is that I testify truthfully about what happened, and I will get a sentence between 5 to 15 years.
What's your date of birth?
August 8th, 1996.
And so we talked about that you have, or had Dominic,
Yes,
Avani,
yes.
and what was Dominic's date of birth?
Dominic's date of birth is was December 4th, 2015.
And Avani?
Avani's is September 22nd, 2017.
Who was Dominic's father?
Jeremy Jarvis,
And Avani?
David John Ingweiler.
And do you refer to David as DJ?
Yes, I do.
And after Avani was born, who did you live with?
I lived with my mom and my stepdad and my 2 siblings.
And was DJ in your life?
In and out, yes.
Was DJ on Dominic's birth?
Yes, he was.
Even though he wasn't the biological father?
That is correct.
I'm going to show you been marked as State's Exhibit 8, State's Exhibit 9. This is State's Exhibit 8 and State's Exhibit 9. What's State's Exhibit 8?
This one?
Yes.
That's me and Dominic and Avani at Disney.
When was that picture taken?
June 5th,
Of what year?
2021.
And is that a fair and accurate depiction of yourself, Avani, and Domenic Aguilar?
Yes.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 9. What is that?
That's Dominic smiling.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of Dominic?
Yes.
State moves to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibit 8 and State's Exhibit 9. There.
No objection.
States 8 and 9 are admitted.
First of all,
Go ahead.
yeah, teacher.
Quick share. My investment.
Or-
Oh. Back because
So, do you know a person by the name of Daniel Garcia?
Yes, I do.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes, I do.
Can you identify him by an article of clothing that he's wearing?
He's wearing a blue button-down, sitting next to over there.
Does the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant in the courtroom?
The record will so reflect.
When did you first meet Daniel?
I met him.
Yes.
So when did you first meet Daniel?
I met him on around October, mid-October, online through a Facebook dating app.
Okay. Did you guys begin to hang out?
Yes, we met up on the 16th of October, and then after that, we continued to meet up and hang out.
Did you learn that Daniel had kids himself?
Yes, I did.
And did you know the names of those kids?
Yes, I did.
And what were those names?
Daniela and Alexander.
When did you first meet Daniela and Alexander?
Sometime after February
Of what year?
of 2021.
Okay. And what about your children? When did Daniel first meet them?
Shortly after I met his children.
At around January of 2021, did you take a trip to Colorado with some friends?
Yes, I did.
What did you do over there?
We hung out. I saw them skiing and sightseeing.
Did you talk to your kids while you were there?
Yes, I did.
Who did you talk to?
I talked to the both of them through FaceTime.
And then when you got back, did you and Daniel start hanging out more?
Yes, we did.
And then were there times that all the kids would hang out together?
Yes.
And could you explain to the jury where they would hang out at?
There's a park 5 minutes from the apartment complex where my mother lives, so we would take them to the park. There's a pool at the apartment complex, so we would do pool days as well. And there's a nice big patch of grass right outside the stairs where I live, so sometimes they would just not sit, but play around in the grass.
Did you, would y'all go camping or on picnics?
We went camping once, yes.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't remember the day.
Do you remember if that was in 2021?
Yes, it was.
And who went on that camping trip?
It was me, Daniel, and the 4 kids.
Which would be who?
Dominic, Ivani, Daniela, and Alexander.
So could you explain to the jury, in April of 2021, was there a time that yourself and all the kids were with Daniel at a pool?
Yes.
And did Dominic do anything to Daniela?
He spit water at her, and I took him out of the pool and had him sit with me afterwards.
And that time in April, did you then yourself, Dominic, go and stay with Daniel?
Yes.
And where did you stay at?
We stayed at his mother's house for a week.
How long did you stay there?
For a week.
Was that overnight?
Yes.
And at the time, were you working?
Yes, I was.
Where did you work at?
I worked at California Pizza Kitchen in Boca Raton.
Were there times, again, this is during COVID, was Dominic in school?
No, he was not.
So while you were at work and you were staying at Daniel's place, where did Dominic stay?
He stayed at Daniel's
With who?
with Daniel and Alexander and Daniela.
And what about Ivani?
Ivani was at my house. She stayed with my mom and my stepdad.
And then, so after work, would you arrive at Daniel's mother's house and stay there the night?
Yeah, after work, Daniel would pick me up and we would head back to his house.
May I approach this?
Go ahead.
May I approach the court
Yes.
with defense counsel? During your relationship with the defendant, Daniel Garcia, was there, especially early on, was there a discussion about a philosophy regarding discipline of children?
No, he disciplined his children and I disciplined mine. It wasn't until sometime after the kids got introduced that he would state that I wasn't disciplining them efficiently.
And did he, in April of 2021, after the pool incident, did he physically discipline Dominic?
Yes.
In what way?
He spanked him in his butt.
How?
He wasn't just like that, like really hard, to the point where Dominic had bruises.
Did it then progress in April of 21 to other types of physical contact?
No, it wasn't after we got here to San Antonio.
So, do you know who the mother of Daniela and Alexander is?
I know of her, yes.
Okay. What's her name?
Samantha
Samantha what?
Perez.
Okay. And at the time that you were in a relationship with the defendant, Daniel Garcia, in April of 21, where did Daniela and Alexander and Samantha live?
To my knowledge, in San Antonio.
Object to hearsay and lack of personal knowledge.
Does the person ask if she knows where they live?
Do you know where they lived?
Yes, in San Antonio.
Okay.
Overruled.
During that time in April, was there a discussion between yourself and the defendant about moving to San Antonio, moving to Texas?
Yes.
And what was that about?
He was going through a custody battle with Samantha, and he told
Judge, may we approach?
Yes.
Was there a plan to move to San Antonio?
yes.
And when did you first learn about the defendant's plan to move to San Antonio?
Maybe around May.
Okay. And around that time in May of 2021, was it communicated to you that you should move with him?
Yes.
And when that was communicated to you, who else was going to move with you?
Dominic and Ivani.
Okay. And what was the plan as far as residing together? As far as bills or things like that?
That we would split the bills. We would find a place that was big enough for all of us, including me, Daniel, and Dominic, Ivani, Daniela, and Alexander. We would find a place big enough and split the bills, and that's it.
And so in late June to early July of 2021, did you, the defendant, Ivani, and Dominic make this trip to San Antonio?
Yes.
And at that time that you made that trip, was the intent to move and reside in San Antonio?
Yes.
So when you came to San Antonio, the four of you, where did you first stay?
At hotels.
And when you stayed at these hotels, would Samantha's children, Daniel's children also, Alexander and Daniela, would they come over?
Yes.
How often?
I don't know exactly.
Would they stay the night?
Yes, they would.
And so how many different hotels did you stay at while you were with the defendant in San Antonio?
About 3.
So let's talk about the first hotel. Well, before we get to the first hotel, did Daniel start, when you came to Texas, did his disciplining or his physical discipline of the children of Dominic begin to escalate?
Yes.
And what types of things would Dominic do that would then make the defendant physically disciplined?
He wouldn't answer right away, keep quiet, not eat his food fast enough. One time he pooped himself.
And so let's talk about the first hotel. What type of punishment at that first hotel would Daniel do to Dominic?
Make him take really cold showers. and spank him and punch him in the butt,
Describe to me punching in the butt.
like closed fist in the butt, just like that.
How many times?
I don't know the specific number.
Was that in front of you?
Yes.
And so what about Dominic? Would he cry or would he yell? Would he scream?
He would make noises, like muffled sounds because
Why was his sound muffled?
Daniel had him on the bed facing down, and so it would sound muffled. It would come out muffled.
So the jury can understand Daniel would put his hand on Dominic's head to force his head down into the bed.
On his head or on his shoulder, like his back,
And then with the other hand, what was he doing?
he would punch him.
What about grabbing Dominic? How would he grab Dominic?
He would grab Dominic by the shoulders and shake him hard.
And was that just at random, or was that for physical discipline? What was he doing that? When was he doing that?
He was doing it during the times that he was physically disciplining him.
So then you go to a second hotel.
Yes.
Before you begin on the second hotel, let's go ahead and break for lunch. It's 12:30.
When you made the decision to move down to Texas, how old were you?
I was 24.
And at that time, did you want to be out on your own?
Yes, I did.
And what were your thoughts about if you had to move back home?
I dreaded moving back home. I was having issues with family, so I didn't want to go back home.
So we discussed hotel number 1, and that was here in Bexar County, Texas,
Yes,
San Antonio.
yes.
And so one of the things that you talked about was that if Dominic didn't eat fast enough, what would happen?
He would get in trouble.
And you briefly mentioned about cold shower? What was
Yes, that was one of the disciplines that he would use was Dominic did not like cold showers, so he would use cold showers as a discipline.
And when you say he, who are you referring to?
I'm referring to Daniel Garcia.
And how would Daniel Garcia get Dominic into the shower?
He would get him down to his boxers and stick him in the shower and turn on the water.
Would Daniel Garcia then ask Dominic to say something in response?
He would wait a little bit and then pull him out or turn off the water and ask him the question. And if he didn't give the answer that he wanted, then he would do it again.
What question would he ask him?
I don't remember.
So we go to the second hotel. Did things escalate at the second hotel?
Yes, they did.
What happened at the second hotel?
It was the same of the first hotel. He wasn't answering fast enough or eating fast enough, and I don't remember exactly what happened, but at some point Daniel hit him in the jaw.
What do you mean hit him in the jaw?
He punched him in the jaw like you sucker punch somebody, close fist, like that.
Did you hear it?
It was so fast, I saw it, I didn't hear it.
say anything to Daniel?
Yes, I did.
What did you say?
I got mad at him. I got in his face. I told him, what the hell?
At the second hotel, would Daniel Garcia hit Dominic on other occasions?
Yes.
Could you explain to the jury how?
Like I said, if he wasn't eating fast enough, he would put him in timeout for several hours throughout the day and pull him out, ask him questions. If he didn't answer the right way or to the manner that Daniel wanted the answer, he would put him back in timeout. He would lay him on the bed and hold him down and punch him
Punch him where?
on his butt.
Did he ever punch him in his chest?
Yes.
How would he punch him in his chest?
He would have him standing in front of him and just punch him in the chest, like right here.
And those strikes, was that open hand or
It was closed hand.
so like a punch?
Yes.
What would Daniel tell you if you tried to intervene?
He would tell me not to undermine him while he was disciplining because it made me and him look weak. When I say him, I mean Daniel.
At that second hotel, do you recall Daniel fighting Dominic?
Yes.
How did that happen?
Daniel was shoving his fingers in Dominic's mouth, and Dominic instinctively bit him. And so he turned around and grabbed him in the arm and bit him right back.
Did that leave a mark?
Yes, it did.
So, talk to me about, or explain to the jury the first time that you saw Daniel Garcia punch Dominic in the face. What did Dominic do after that punch?
He just lay there. Sorry. He just lay there after he got punched. I didn't see it coming. I don't know what provoked it. I was on the bed with the other kids and I don't remember what happened. It happened so fast. He just got punched in the face.
So during this time, your mother, what's her name?
Surly.
Sir. She's still living in Florida.
Yes.
Would she call and check up on you?
Yes, she would.
And would she be able to talk to you and the kids?
No,
Why not?
because Daniel would make me wait and take the kids. He would take Dominic, Daniela, and Alexander downstairs and then be like, all right, you can pick up the phone now.
In evidence, State's Exhibit 5 is a surveillance video of hotel number 3. Do you remember hotel number 3?
Yes, I do.
And in that video, Dominic is shown and he's wearing a mask. Why is he wearing a mask?
because of his jaw.
What was wrong with his jaw?
It was slanted a little bit, so he had the face mask on so people wouldn't notice his face.
At the third hotel, do you recall at any point if Daniel Garcia put his knee on Dominic's chest?
Yes.
Explain to the jury how and when that happened.
He laid him on the bed and put his knee on him with all his weight. Just like you could see it, like he made like a scene of it, like just kind of looked like he was bouncing on top of him to put all his weight on Dominic.
At that third hotel, was Dominic allowed to sleep on the bed?
No, he was not,
Why not?
because he was in timeout. So bed was considered a privilege.
And so you were there at the Hotel 3 for a few days. Where did Dominic sleep?
He slept on the floor next to the bed.
Where did you sleep?
I slept on the bed.
Did he have a pillow?
Yes.
A blanket?
Yes.
But he was never allowed to be on the bed.
No, he was, as long as he was in timeout, he was not allowed on the bed.
And so did Dominic ever try to get on the bed?
Not in hotel number 3.
What about hotel number 2?
Yes.
And what happened when he got on the bed?
Daniel pushed him off the bed with his foot.
And in hotel 3, did Daniel ever kick him or use his feet against Daniel?
Not that I recall. I don't remember.
Were there times that Dominic was left in the hotel room by himself?
Yes.
Where would he be?
He would be in the bathroom.
Was he allowed to leave the bathroom?
No, he was not.
Permission to approach, Judge?
Go ahead.
And I see state 7, Judge.
I have State's Exhibit 5 on the monitor, and I'm going to go to July 20th, 2021, 3:43 p.m. Do you see what's on the monitor?
Yes. Yes.
Oscar, you might want to stand on this side of the monitor.
And I'm gonna pause it right here at 3:44. Do you see everybody in this screen?
Yes, I do.
Who's on the screen?
It's Daniel, Dominic, myself, Alexander, Ivani, and Daniela.
Okay. And so the child coming up the stairs, who's that? The first
That's the first one is Daniela.
one? Okay. And then the child all the way at the bottom?
That's Dominic.
Okay. I'm gonna play it. Gonna fast forward it, Your Honor, to July 22nd, 2021, at 1:37 in the morning. I'm playing it. Who do we see on the screen right now?
Daniel and Dominic.
And it's just them two?
Yes.
And this is 1:37 in the morning? Now it's 1:42 in the morning. Who do we see in the screen?
Daniel and Dominic.
Is it just them two?
Yes.
What do you notice about Dominic's left hand right now? What's it holding?
He's holding his leg.
I'm going to fast forward to July 24th at 11:10 in the morning. All right, I'm playing it. July 24th. It's 11:09 in the morning. Now it's 11:10. Who do we see on the screen?
Me and my daughter Ivani.
I'm gonna pause it. At 11:11, you make a gesture. What gesture was that?
I was flicking him off. I was flicking off Daniel.
Okay. And so coming down the stairs, who do we see?
Daniel holding Daniela, and then Alexander following behind.
Okay. I'm gonna play it. It's 11:11. It's 11:38. Y'all leave the stairwell. Who's missing?
Dominic,
Where was Dominic?
upstairs.
I'm gonna pause it. I'm gonna fast forward it to July 24th, 11:59 a.m. Who do we see on the screen?
Me, Avani, Daniela, Alexander, and Daniel.
It's been about 50 minutes since y'all were gone, give or take a few minutes. Who's missing?
Dominic.
Was Dominic still in the hotel room?
Yes.
I'm gonna fast forward it. July 24th, we're gonna go all the way to 6:38 p.m. Who do we see on the screen?
Daniela, Avani, Alexander, Daniel, and then me.
Who's missing?
Dominic,
Where's Dominic?
upstairs,
Where?
in the bathroom.
Go to 7:01 on July 24th. Who do we see?
Me and Avani,
Is it just y'all two?
yes,
Where are you going?
upstairs,
Upstairs where?
to the hotel room.
Who's in the hotel room?
Dominic.
Did you see someone who just peeked out?
Yes,
Who's that?
Daniel.
I'm gonna fast forward it to 7:06. Who do we see?
Me and Avani.
Where's Dominic?
Still upstairs.
Just fast forward it to 8:05 p.m. July 24th. Who we seeing?
Daniela, Ivani, Alexander, myself, and Daniel
Where's Dominic?
upstairs in the room.
Let's fast forward it to 9:22 p.m. July 24th. You playing it? Who do we see?
Me, Ivani, and Daniela. And then Daniel and Alexander,
Where's Dominic?
still upstairs.
Let's fast forward it to 9:55. Who do we see?
Daniela, Ivani, me, Alexander, and Daniel.
What's Daniel carrying?
A box of pizza.
How many?
2.
What about in your arm? What are you carrying?
Soda.
Okay. So you go into the room. Is that where you're going?
Yes.
And is Dominic in the room?
Yes.
Did y'all eat?
Yes.
Did you eat?
Yes.
What did you eat?
Pizza.
What about Dominic?
No.
Why?
He wasn't allowed to eat.
What do you mean he wasn't allowed to eat?
It was one of the ways that Daniel would punish him.
When did he, I guess that punishment of not being allowed to eat, when did that start?
That started in hotel number 1.
So hotel number 1, Daniel says he's in trouble, so he's not allowed to eat.
Yes.
Hotel number 2, what did he eat?
He was eating when he wasn't in trouble, but when he wasn't allowed to eat.
And asked what was he eating?
Oh, the same thing that we were eating or whatever was in the room.
So over here in hotel 3, what was he eating?
Whatever was in the room. Cereal, mainly.
But this night,
There was pizza.
was he allowed to eat that pizza?
No, he was not.
Did he ask her?
I don't remember.
But you ate.
Yes.
Okay. Gonna fast forward it to July 25th. (12:11 a.m.) Who do we see?
Ivani, Alexander, Daniela, myself.
Let's stop real quick. Fast forward, rewind it a little bit.
Okay.
So, who's this person?
Ivani.
What's she wearing?
She's wearing little shorts and a t-shirt.
And this is July 25th, 2021, and this was in San Antonio, Texas?
Yes.
Okay. So she's wearing shorts, a t-shirt. Okay. I'm gonna play it. We see to the far, I guess, left of the screen, or if you were looking at the screen, to the right of the screen. we see a young female child. Is that Daniela?
Yes, it is.
What's she wearing?
She's wearing a t-shirt as well with shorts.
Okay. And so let's go back to Lavani. Does she have anything on her face?
No, she does not.
What about Daniela? Does she have anything on her face?
No, she does not.
And then we see a little boy. Is that Alexander?
Yes, it is.
What's he wearing?
He's wearing a t-shirt and shorts.
Does he have anything covering his face?
No, he doesn't.
Is that you holding Daniela's hand?
Yes, it is.
Who's that?
That's Daniel and Dominic.
What's Dominic wearing?
He's wearing his hoodie, a face mask, and long pajama bottoms.
You want to play it? About 12:12 in the morning, and y'all walk out the exit. We keep it playing. What's that?
That's Daniel with Dominic.
That's 12:16, so it's been about 4 minutes since you exited. What happened in the parking lot?
I was strapping the kids up in the car seats, and Dominic was last. He was closest to my door, and he started throwing up. Daniel said, "Oh shit, he's throwing up. I'm gonna take him upstairs." So he took him upstairs.
So that's 12:16 in the morning. So I'm gonna fast forward to 12:32 in the morning. So from 12:16 to 12:32 in the morning, it's been that's 16 minutes. What were you doing?
I was waiting for them to get back. I was in the car with the rest of the kids.
What were you doing? Were you on your phone? What were you
Yes,
doing?
I was on my phone on social media, scrolling through.
Gonna play it? Who's that?
That's Daniel.
I'm gonna rewind it a little bit. It's at 12:32:31. Who do we see?
Daniel Garcia.
And do you notice, what do you notice about his pants?
They're wet.
Did you later find out why they were wet?
Yes,
Why?
because when he was upstairs with Dominic, he put Dominic in the shower.
Is that what he told you?
Yes.
I'm gonna stop it right there, 12:33. Who do we see?
Me,
Okay. What are you holding in your hand?
my phone.
What do you do with the phone?
I pass it to Daniel.
Why?
I don't know.
Did Daniel then start using your phone?
Yes, he did.
Would he call his mother from that phone?
Yes, he would.
Would he communicate with Samantha from that phone?
Yes, he would.
Do you remember what your phone number was?
954-683-0208.
It was 12:33, 12:34. Where are y'all going?
We are going upstairs.
Going upstairs where?
Going upstairs to the hotel room.
What did you see when you got into the hotel room?
I walked into the hotel room, into the bathroom, and Dominic was laying in the bathtub unconscious.
Do you remember how long you stayed in that hotel room before you left?
No, I do not.
My first trip?
Yes.
So that was about 12:33, 12:44. I'm going to fast forward it to one in the morning. 1:01 in the morning. Who was that that came down the stairs?
That's Daniela.
Who do we see?
Me and Ivani.
What are you doing with your hand?
I was rubbing my head.
Who else do we see?
Daniel and Alexander.
Where's Dominic?
He's not there.
Where is he?
He's in the bathroom upstairs.
Did you go outside thinking that he might wake up?
Yes, I did.
At any point, did yourself or Daniel Garcia call 911 or anybody?
No, we did not.
So I'm gonna fast forward it to 1:11 in the morning. Who do we see?
Me, Ivani, Alexander, Daniela, and Daniel.
Where y'all going?
We're going back upstairs to the room.
Where was Dominic when you went back into the room?
He was laying in the same place that I left him.
So now I'm gonna fast forward it to 1:53 in the morning. Who do we see?
Me, Daniela, and Daniel.
Where's Alexander and Ivani?
They were asleep.
And Dominic?
He was in the bathroom.
Fast forward to 2:15 in the morning. Who do we see?
Me, Daniel, and Daniela.
Fast forward it to 3:05 in the morning. Who do we see?
Me and Daniel,
Where are the kids?
all asleep,
And Dominic?
still in the same place.
fast forward to the 3:12 in the morning. And I guess at this times that you guys went outside, like we just saw in the last clip, either one of you call 911 or
No, we did not.
fast forward to 3:12 in the morning. Who do we see?
Me and Daniel.
Where are you going?
Back upstairs to the room.
I'll fast forward it to 9:13 in the morning. So staying with y'all was Alexander and Daniela, right?
Yes.
The next day, did they get picked up?
Yes, they did.
Who picked them up?
Their mother, Samantha.
I'm going to show you what something that's already been entered into evidence. That's exhibit number 1. State's exhibit 1. And could you tell the jury, this is from the hotel y'all stayed at, the one that we see in State's exhibit 5. What was the arrival date?
The arrival date was 7/20/2021.
And then departure date or checkout date, it was supposed to be what?
The 7/29/2021.
So right now we're July 25th, 2021.
Yes.
Did y'all leave the hotel that day?
Yes, we did.
Who do we see?
Ivani, Daniela, myself, Daniel, and Alexander.
And Avani is your child, right?
Yes, she is.
And Daniel's now where? Do you know?
I believe he went, I don't know, upstairs.
He's not in the frame, right?
No.
And that door that we see with next to the number 1, does that lead to the lobby?
Yes, it does.
Okay. At no point do you go into the lobby or ask for help or anything like that,
I
right?
do not.
You sit there, right?
Yes, I do.
Just waiting, right?
Yes.
And was the plan for Samantha to come pick them up that morning?
Yes, it was.
Who texted Samantha to come pick them up?
Daniel texted Samantha
From what phone?
from my phone.
While Dominic was in the hotel room, did you
Yes.
change his clothes?
Yes, I did.
What clothes did you put on?
I put on his camouflage pants and a Baby Yoda blue Star Wars shirt.
Who do we see in the
Uh,
frame?
All of them?
Yeah, who's everybody?
Me, Ivani, Daniela, Alexander, and Daniel.
Did y'all exit the stairwell now?
Yes.
Where did you go? Do you remember?
I do not remember.
Y'all exited 9:16 and it's gonna, it's 9:27 in the morning. Who's coming up?
Me, Ivani, Alexander, Daniela, and Daniel.
Fast forward to 9:50 in the morning. Who's that?
That's Daniel.
What's he carrying?
He's carrying my suitcase and his suitcase.
Where are you?
I'm upstairs.
With the kids?
Yes.
At no point did you call
No, I
Anyone?
did not.
for help? You just waited in the room?
Yes, I did.
It's 9:52, 9:53. Who do we see?
Daniel.
Let's fast forward to 11:07. Who do we see?
We see Daniel.
And what's he doing?
He's on the phone.
Is that your phone?
Yes.
Let's go to 11:15 in the morning. Who do we see?
We see Daniel, myself, and Ivani.
And at this time, has Alexander and Daniela, have they already been picked up?
Yes.
What are y'all carrying down?
The rest of the things that were in the hotel
Where's Dominic?
upstairs.
It's 11:18. Who do we see?
Ivani, myself, and Daniel.
I'm going to fast forward it to 11:24. Who do we see on the screen?
Daniel and his two dogs.
Who's that?
That's Ivani.
How old is Ivani at this time?
She's 3 years old.
Who's that carrying that basket?
Me.
Fast forward to 11:28. At this point, were you in the car?
I was getting Ivani in the car, yes.
Where'd you put her in the car?
In the back seat, in one of the booster seats.
Who did we see go up the stairs right now?
Daniel.
Fast forward to 11:32. Who do we see?
Daniel. And he's carrying Dominic downstairs
Where's he taking him?
to the car.
Fast forward to 11:36. And this is July 25th, 2021. 11:36 in the morning, is that correct?
Yes.
Who's that?
That's Daniel
What's he doing?
carrying stuff downstairs to the car.
Once Daniel carried Dominic to the car, where'd you put Dominic?
I put him in the other car seat, strapped him up.
Was he still unconscious?
Yes, he was.
And just so that we're clear, at no point in Hotel 1, 2, or 3 did you or Daniel Garcia call police, EMS, or the doctor?
No.
So once the kids are in the car, what was the plan?
To drive up to Colorado
Why?
to bury his body.
Whose idea was it to go to Colorado?
My idea.
Where'd you come up with that idea?
Because I had promised my kids that I was going to take them to Colorado so they could see the snow. And I don't know, it was in my head for some reason to leave him somewhere beautiful. It was beautiful there and I wanted him to be somewhere beautiful.
Did Daniel ever make a statement to you about why you couldn't call anybody for help?
Because they were going to take the kids away.
Did Dominic have bruises on his body?
Yes, he did.
Where were those bruises?
On his thighs, on his butt, on his chest, and right here.
What about his face?
Yes. It was discolored right around here.
And you testified about the jaw being crooked?
Yes.
Was it still crooked in Hotel 3?
Yes.
Who drove?
Daniel drove.
Do you know how to drive?
I do not.
car were you in?
We were in Daniel's car.
And so we just saw everyone packed up and left. Where did you go?
We drove straight to Colorado.
Did you stop at a gas station?
Yes, we did. We stopped at a gas station and at a rest stop.
Okay. Let's talk about the gas station first. Did you ask anybody there for help?
No, I don't remember getting out of the car.
Did you get any snacks or anything?
No,
You just sat in the car. What about Daniel? What did he do?
put gas in the car
How did you put gas in the car?
with the credit card. Not the credit, a debit card.
At the pump?
Yes,
Okay. And then at the rest stop? How long were you there at the rest stop? Do you remember?
just overnight. We got there very late. It was already dark. And then we just stayed there for the night.
And then the next day, where did you go?
Kept heading north to Colorado, to the Rocky Mountains.
At any point, did y'all stop at a store to buy anything?
We stopped at a gas station and got coffee.
What about a Walmart?
Yes,
Do you remember where?
no, it was still in Texas, that's all I remember, but I don't remember exactly where it was. It was very isolated.
Did you get out of the car?
Yes, I did.
And did you walk inside the Walmart?
Yes, I did.
With who?
With Avani.
And who else?
That's it.
What did you do in the Walmart?
I took her to the bathroom.
What about a shovel? You talked about a burial. What about a shovel?
He got out of the car at Walmart first, and he went to go pick up stuff for camping. He
Why
bought
camping?
because he wanted to go off the grid.
What do you mean by off the grid?
He wanted to go live in the woods for a year and then come back
And say what?
and say that Dominic got lost in the woods.
Okay. And so as a part of this supplies for camping, what were all the different things that were bought?
A couple of gallons of water, ramen, soup, a shovel, a rope, and a tent.
Okay. So as after that, did you continue to go north?
Yes, we did.
And what happened when you got to Colorado?
When we got to Colorado, we drove up to the Rocky Mountains and started looking for a place to park so that we could camp.
What about the different parks that are up there, national parks or state parks? Did you attempt to go into one of those?
I don't remember. I remember being at the Rockies.
Okay. At any point, did you encounter any park rangers or anything like that?
Yes, we did.
Could you explain to the jury how and when that occurred?
When we were pulling into one of the campsites, there was a ranger station, and we pulled up. He said that you needed to pay a fee, and so we didn't have the money, so we turned around and left. I was in the passenger seat and Daniel was driving.
And this park ranger, did he come up to your window?
No, he did not. He was in his station.
Okay. But y'all had your window down to
Yes,
communicate with him.
yes,
And it was Daniel driving and you were in the passenger seat?
yes.
And what about the kids?
They were in the back seat.
Ooh, which kids?
Avani was in the back seat with Dominic. He was strapped up in the car seat next to her.
At any point from what we saw in State's Exhibit 5 of Dominic on July 25th at around 12:18 in the morning to this point right here at the park ranger. Did Dominic regain consciousness at any point?
No, he didn't.
And so at this point, did you or Daniel tell the park ranger about the fact that there is a child, your child, in the back seat that's unconscious?
No, he did not.
Okay. So after you found out that you needed to pay a fee to get into the park, what happened next?
We turned around and we left.
Where'd you go?
We continued to look around for a place to stay at. We were driving around the park for a couple of hours.
At some point, did you stop?
At the park?
No, stop driving.
Oh, yes.
Where?
On the way to Fraser, Colorado.
How do you, what significance is Fraser to you?
When I went in January, when I went with my friends on the trip to Colorado, that's where we stayed. And so when we couldn't find a location, I was like, I don't know Colorado very well, but I know of Fraser. We could go there. And so we were driving up there, and about 7 minutes before getting to Fraser, we stopped on the side of the road.
What exhibit am I on?
Number 10.
Oh, 10 is next.
10 is next.
Thank you. My first witness.
Yes.
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10. You recognize State's Exhibit 10?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
That is where Dominic's body was left.
Okay.
That was.
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of the location of where you stopped to leave
Yes.
Dominic's body?
Yes, it is.
State moves to offer what's been marked as State's Exhibit 10 into evidence.
No further objection, Your Honor.
And permission to,
It's 10 is admitted.
permission to publish, Judge? So we kind of see a State's Exhibit 10 on the screen. There's a tree in the background. There's a kind of like a cliff, and you can see, are those mountains?
Yes, they are.
Okay. So when you stopped there with the defendant, what did you do?
He got out of the car and scoped it out, said this is the best place to leave him. By that point, he got paranoid,
Okay.
and
So what did you do?
I got out of the car and looked around, and then he told me to get Dominic out of the car and put him somewhere.
When you say he told you, who told you?
Daniel told me.
Daniel Garcia?
Yes.
So you got Dominic out of the booster seat or car seat.
Yes.
What did you do?
I went to the edge of where that tree's coming out of, and I lowered him down.
Okay. You lowered him down.
Yes.
What did the defendant tell you about that location?
That it could be easily, he was exposed. You could see him if you walked up to the edge, you could see him there, so that he needed to be put somewhere where you couldn't find him.
things that was purchased as the camping supplies was water jugs.
Yes.
What did the defendant tell you to do with those water jugs?
He told me to throw the water jugs down where Dominic was because maybe it would tip his body and cover him.
Did you get the water jugs?
Yes, I did.
What did you do with the water jugs?
I did what he told me to do.
What was that?
Throw them over the cliff
At what?
at my son.
At his body?
Yes.
You and I, we've met before?
Yes.
Did the water jugs hit his body?
No, they did not.
And when that was unsuccessful, what did the defendant do?
He went to the bag from Walmart, took out the rope that he bought, tied it to the steering wheel of the car, and tied it around his waist. And then he lowered himself down so that he could physically move Dominic's body and hide him.
Okay. So that the jury understands, he tied the rope to the steering wheel and lowered himself down. How did he get back up?
I helped him get back up by grabbing the rope and pulling it.
Aaron, you approach with the defense. After this, did you then flee the country?
Yes,
Where did you go?
we went to Costa Rica.
And did you go there in what vehicle?
And we went in his vehicle,
Whose vehicle?
in Daniel's vehicle.
Okay. Can you approach it? Dominic's body.
Yes,
And then you helped Daniel come back up.
yes.
What happened after that?
He asked me to go to the edge to see if I could find Dominic's body. I went to the edge. I couldn't see it. I told him no. And then we got in the car and drove off. Same way that we came in.
What was the plan after that?
The plan was up in the air. It wasn't to go, it wasn't to flee, it was to hide out
Where?
in the woods.
But at what point did you abandon that plan?
The following day, that day, after leaving Dominic's body, we drove back south and we found a nature park and stayed there for the night. And then in the morning we woke up and that's when he just started driving south to the border.
What did y'all talk about?
I don't remember.
So as he was driving to the border, where were you going?
To the border. He was going down to the border. I remember him telling me that I needed to stop having all contact with my family, with my mother, to drop off the face of the earth, and that he was gonna take care of me and Ivani.
At what point did you all decide to go to Mexico?
It just happened. We were in Eagle Pass. He drove all the way down to Eagle Pass, and we just crossed. We never talked about it. We just crossed.
And when you crossed, were you awake?
Yes, I was.
Explain to the jury kind of the process of crossing the border.
We're in the car, and they stop you, do an inspection, and then you get back in the car and keep driving.
So you got stopped in Mexico?
In the border,
Okay.
yes.
And at this point, did you say anything to anybody about what has happened?
No, I did not.
At any point, did you or Daniel say anything to anybody there about what y'all did in Colorado?
No, we did not.
So after that was done, the inspection was done, where did you go?
We were in Mexico at Piedras Negras, which is a town there, and we drove around for a while. He asked me if I wanted to go back to the States, but I told him that I couldn't go back because I didn't have proper documentation to return. I didn't have my passport. I only had my green card, and you need 2 valid pieces of ID. So he was like, all right, no problem, we'll stay here. And we went to a place where they validate your car. They give you like a pass. So we went there. We spent the majority of the day there. And then once it started getting dark, we just found a hotel and stayed there at the hotel for the night.
One of the things that you testified about was y'all were low on funds,
Yes.
and now you've crossed into Mexico and are getting documentation and then a hotel. How did you get those funds?
I was asking my mom for funds because I told her that we had crossed. So
What did you tell her exactly?
I had told her that we had to leave the state because DJ, my daughter's biological father, his mother was trying to take the kids from me. And so we fled the state for that reason.
May I approach Judge with defense?
Yes.
So how long did you stay in Mexico?
We were in Mexico for about a week, give or take a couple days.
And then, after that week, what was the plan?
To go to Costa Rica
Why?
because he wanted to stay in Mexico and I didn't want to stay in Mexico, so I told him that if we went to Costa Rica, my dad would help us.
And your father is, was he born in Costa Rica?
Yes, he was.
And where were you born?
I was born in Costa Rica as well.
At that time, where was he living?
My
Your
father?
Yes, your father.
My father was living in a small village in the mountains. I don't know the name of it.
Did you all eventually make the trip down to Costa Rica?
Yes, we did.
How'd you get there?
In Daniel's car.
Who drove?
Daniel drove.
Who was with you?
Daniel and Avani and his dogs.
Yes?
Showing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 13. You recognize this?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
That is the back of Daniel's car.
Okay. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of Daniel's car?
Yes, it is.
Okay. State moves to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibit 13 as evidence.
No further objection, Your Honor.
Page 13 is admitted.
So, you drove through Mexico, well, as a passenger in
Yes.
Daniel's vehicle. When you got to Guatemala, how did you cross the border?
We couldn't cross the border because he didn't have his passport and I didn't have mine either. So he was in contact with his mother and he had his mother send his passport through mail. That took a couple of days, so we were in the border of Mexico and Guatemala for a couple of days.
And how do you know he was in contact with his mother?
He was using my phone.
And did you overhear him in conversation with his mother?
Not really. I heard him once or twice on the phone asking her for money, and he did let her know that Dominic was no longer with us.
How do you know, what did he say with that, with regard to Dominic?
His words were "El socio ya no está aquí," which means he's no longer here. The word socio is a slang term. But yeah.
So then when you cross into Guatemala, y'all still have the vehicle?
Yes, we do.
And how'd you, what happened next?
We kept on driving. We would drive all day, and then once it started to get dark, we would find a hotel and stay at the hotel.
So you've driven as a passenger from Colorado down into Mexico. You stayed a week in Mexico and are now driven through Mexico and in Guatemala, staying at various hotels. During this time, were you intimate with the defendant?
Yes, I was.
In what way?
We had intercourse.
After Guatemala was the next country. Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Did you get to another country though?
Yes, we did.
And how did you get to that other country?
By then, there were coyotes, which are people that help you pass from one border to another illegally. And I didn't have my passport, so my mom was sending me money so that I could cross the border illegally with my daughter.
And did you do that across multiple borders?
Yes, I did.
And during this time, you were in communication with your mother?
Yes, I was.
Did she ask about Dominic?
She asked about the kids. I would just tell her that they were good, but she's at a point she stopped pushing to talk to them herself because I wouldn't let her.
So crossing these borders, you didn't have your passport with you, so you had to cross through a facilitator or a coyote.
Yes.
Finally, from Nicaragua to Costa Rica, how did you cross?
There we had gotten stopped right before hitting the border, and I guess they notified the border patrol, and so we had to pay like $300 or something like that so that they could pretend that I was crossing north instead of coming south. And they escorted me from the Nicaragua deportation center to the center in the immigration center in Costa Rica.
And did you meet up with Daniel in Costa Rica?
Yes.
And did he still have his vehicle in Costa Rica?
Yes, he did.
And that's the same vehicle that we see in States Exhibit 13?
Yes, it is.
And when you arrived in Costa Rica, where did y'all go?
We went to my dad's house.
And who was living there at your dad's house?
My dad and a co-worker of his, because they took care of a property. The property that my dad was living at, they took care of the property.
And do you have other family members that live in Costa Rica?
All my family. All my family on my mom's side and all my family on my dad's side, except for my immediate family, which are my mom and my 2 siblings.
So who's Desiree Aguilar?
That's my aunt. She's the youngest sibling that my dad has.
Did you see her in Costa Rica?
Yes, I did.
And did she see you and Daniel in Costa Rica?
Yes, she did.
So when you got to Costa Rica, you show up and it's yourself, Daniel, and Ivani.
Yes.
Were you asked about Dominic?
Yes, I was. I had first told them that Dominic got sick and we had to leave him with a friend in San Antonio. And then
Why'd you say that story?
because I didn't know what else to say. My mom was asking where he was and I was paranoid. And so that's what I said. And then when we got to my dad, I told him the story that Daniel had told me to tell him.
What was the story Daniel told you to say?
That we were on our way to go get pizza with the kids and Dominic fell sick, started throwing up in the side of the car. And so Daniel took him upstairs, took my son Dominic upstairs so that he could throw up in peace upstairs. And then that's where he became unconscious, and then Daniel came back downstairs to get me.
At no point during this time did you say the true story?
No, not at that time.
Okay. Where was, during this time in Costa Rica with Daniel, how long where did you stay? Let's say that.
We stayed at my dad's house, and we were there. We got there on the 12th or on the 13th of August of 2021, and We stayed there until the 18th.
Mayor Roach?
Yes.
Show me what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14. Do you recognize this?
Yes,
Who's that?
that is Daniel.
Is that a picture of Daniel?
Yes,
And where's that picture taken?
that is inside of the house that my dad takes care of,
Is that
where
in,
he's living.
is that in the country of Costa Rica?
Yes,
Is that a fair and accurate depiction of Daniel in Costa Rica in August of 2021?
yes it is.
State moves to admit what's been marked as State's Exhibit 14 into evidence.
No further objections.
States 14 is admitted.
Permission to publish it?
Yes.
So publishing to the jury, what do we see on State's Exhibit 13?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, that's Daniel's car.
And then what do we see in State's 14?
That's Daniel himself inside of my dad's place.
So, you testified about your mom residing in Florida.
Yes.
And your dad lived in Costa Rica.
Correct.
At some point, did your mom show up in Costa Rica?
Yes, my mom showed up there the day before I got there. Excuse me. She didn't tell me that she was showing up. She wanted to surprise me and the kids, and she had brought a suitcase with clothes for us.
Did she eventually confront you?
Unfortunately, Raj.
Yes.
At some point, did she confront you about where Dominic was in Costa Rica?
She did. The first night that we got to my dad's house, I told my dad the story, and the following morning we called my mom and told her that Dominic was no longer alive.
Sustain. I cannot say what other people have told you.
Can I say, excuse me, Judge?
I'm sorry?
Well, I didn't hear.
I told her she cannot repeat what other people told her.
The question elicited what she told her mother.
It's an out-of-court statement, right? What's the
It's not being
exception?
offered for the truth of the matter asserted because it was a lie.
I still sustained it.
Did you lie to your mother?
Yes, I did.
At a certain point, did the FBI get involved? Julian Iguala,
Yes, he did.
do you remember speaking with him?
Yes,
And did you lie to him also?
I did.
At this point, when you were speaking to Julian, an FBI agent in Central America, had you and Daniel parted ways?
Yes, we had.